Okay, guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Alex Johnson podcast. To be honest with you, I'm trying to find a better name for it, so please let me know if you have one because I haven't put too much thought into this. I just like to press record and release content, and I've loved the podcast that I've done so far. And sometimes the beauty of starting something like a podcast is how slow it takes to actually build momentum. And as annoying as that is, and as frustrating as that can be, putting in so much work, putting in the hours to get guests on and coordinate times and take time out of my life and out of work and other aspects of what I like to do is you can practice talking, you can practice podcasting, and there's not too many people watching yet. And for those of you that are here, thank you very much. And that wasn't even the premise of this video at all, but I appreciate you all. And if you could, the way that you can support me and kind of keep these podcasts going, keep the content coming, is to subscribe and engage with the content and do all of that stuff so that the channel can gain traction and everything like that. So you know what? The success that I have in mind for this channel, or what I see as success, is if one of you listening is going through a hard time, and if you can listen to this, if you can listen to a guest I have on, a speaker, whatever, and that helps you, that motivates you, that comforts you, or gives you some motivation, some more discipline in your life, whatever it might be, that is success to me. And a lot of times things go unsaid, but I have this hope in my mind, like hopefully someone is watching that gets value out of this. I hope that everyone watching gets value out of this. So today I want to share something that's been on my mind. And I know that if I don't make a video right now, although this is unprepared and I haven't put a lot into this video, I'm not going to edit it like crazy or anything like that, but let me just jump into it, okay? Because this has been on my mind, it's been on my heart, and if that sounds cheesy, I mean, it kind of just has been. I've been going through some of these thoughts on my own of, stuff happens in life, and I've come up with 3 steps of how to be more resilient, and I wanted to make that into a video. And a little backstory to this, really this month, maybe I've been in a funk, and I've been looking at the delta or the gap between where I want to be and where I am right now. And I see this huge gap and I think, man, that's, it's enough to make me unhappy at times. And that's not a good thing, but that's sort of what I've been going through. And obviously the right answer is enjoy the process and look to what you want to be and look towards the person that you want to be and enjoy the journey. And that's the important part of it. But without getting too much off track, stuff just happens. And so on top of that, the story comes in where, my wife and I are going to this party that we've had planned for months now. We're going to this Christmas party and we're late. We're all frustrated because we're trying to get there. It's a long drive. And 40 minutes into the drive, my truck starts to overheat. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm having this little issue with the vehicle, and so we have to pull over, we have to get a tow truck. Ends up being the serpentine belt, whatever. So my truck needs this $1,000 fix, and we have to deal with the tow truck and bring it into a repair shop, and it's like a 40-minute drive from where we live, and all this stuff. So look, it's a trivial matter. It's a little situation that happened, and in the moment, I almost have this feeling of, why me? Why is this happening? Almost like this victim mindset of like, of course, why would this happen? And I'm wearing this shirt today. This wasn't even planned, but it says embrace the suck. It was just a shirt that I saw. I mean, again, maybe this is a little cheesy, but I saw it and I was like, yep, I want to get that, because I think oftentimes you just have to embrace what comes your way. And look, I bring up this funny little example and it's silly. To me, I look back and I think, there's so many other things that could have happened. Could have been in an accident. Could have been a lot worse. And that's how a lot of things are in life, is it could be a lot worse, but in the moment we get so fixated on what's happening to us, and it's hard to not have that victim mindset. Sometimes that just happens to us. And if you know who Sean Ryan is, it's okay if you don't, but he had this saying where he was talking about buds, being a Navy SEAL, I believe that's what he was. Or he is, and he said, sometimes life just kicks you in the nuts. And he was talking about buds kicking him in the nuts, and he said, how do you prepare for that? You don't. You just take it. And sometimes I think that's how things are that happen in our lives should be handled is you can't really prepare for it often. I mean, you can make it better, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So this is a little rant on that, but I tried to break this down into a 3-step process of how to make bad things better, how to reframe things, and make sure that instead of becoming bitter after hard times, you can become better. And maybe that's a little corny, but I believe that there's a lot of truth to that. So if you are going through a tough time right now, and everyone does, I hope that these can help you a little bit because they've helped me, and I've tried to tell myself this. I try to remind myself of these things, and I hope that it adds value to you. So to jump in, one thing that I always try to tell myself is that it's not that bad. I kind of already brought that up. It's just not that bad. And you can reframe things in a way that helps you understand that whatever you're going through, it can be a learning opportunity. What I like to say is it's just part of the human experience. There has to be the highs with the lows, or else you couldn't understand what happiness is. You couldn't understand what a good time is if you haven't gone through a bad time. So I like to look at things and think to myself, is this a fatal situation? Is this so bad that it's life ending? Is this really gonna affect my life years down the road? And the answer is it's not. So I apologize. I was getting a call I had to take. I didn't want to edit this, but that's going to be the only edit I make. Okay. And I like to ask myself, is this really going to matter? Because a lot of times your tire blows, you get pulled over, someone cuts you off, whatever else happens. I've been using a lot of like the car analogies, but something happens, and a lot of times it's just trivial. You're not going to be remembering it in years from now. And even if you are, even if it's a big setback, even if it's something really hard, this is maybe the hardest thing you've ever gone through, you can tell yourself that this is going to be part of your story. And that doesn't make it easier. That's one of the easiest things to say, but this is the story that you'll tell. And when you make it out of this, that can become part of who you are and your story and the character that you have. And you can reframe things like that and see the world through a different lens. So instead of that why me mindset, you can say, yeah, why not me? I can go through this. And again, this is part of the human experience. Let me work through this, learn from this, and then down the road be able to benefit other people from this. Not only can you become stronger, but you can also help other people that will be going through the same things that you have. And number 2, moving on to something else I like to remind myself when going through hard times, is it is important to keep yourself busy and to voluntarily choose to do hard things and find healthy coping mechanisms so that you can be ready for those setbacks and be ready for the things that come at you and know how to cope with them. So for me, that's the gym. For me, that's running or doing these videos. Sometimes that's an outlet in itself. But staying busy and having good habits is one of the best things that you can do when adversity strikes and when bad things come your way. And the worst thing that you can do if you're going through a really hard time is just to sit and reflect on it and just to think about it, because your mind will play tricks on you and you'll often freak yourself out and think that whatever is happening to you is the worst thing in the world and you can get stuck in this funk. But having a habit like going to the gym, being with friends, whatever it is, it'll keep you busy. It'll work your mind, work your body, and then you can kind of push yourself through that trial a little bit easier. So that's just important to me. I think it's very important for anybody going through a tough time is find the things that can push you and challenge you so you can voluntarily do the hard things so that when things do come your way, you're a little more prepared, you're a little stronger, and you can work through it and you can bounce back. And that leads us to the third way to address hard times and trials that come into your life, and that's making the plan to bounce back. So, okay, this happened, and now what? And obviously the key factor here is not to give up. It's to push forward and, plan it out if you need to, depending on what it is. And if you sit around and if you just think, why me? Why am I the victim here? Then it's hard to make progress and hard to get yourself out of that hole. It's hard to get out of that trap. But if you think to yourself, okay, this happened, and if I sit around, and if I'm crying about it, which that's okay, that's not a bad thing, but if I just want to have a pity party for myself and just get down on myself, then no progress can be made in that moment. So you really do have to plan to bounce back from it. Do you need help from your friends? Do you need help from family or other resources? Sometimes something major will happen and you need professional help, and that's okay. But make a plan and then stick to it. Have other people help you. Have some accountability. Whatever it is, you need a plan to bounce back. And the worst thing you can do is say, well, this bad thing happened, so I'm just going to throw it all away and just give up, or I made a mistake, so what's the point? Let's just do something else that might be detrimental. No, don't do that. If something bad happens, make a plan to bounce back. Get some help from someone if you need to. Get some good friends that can keep you accountable to your plan of action moving forward. Whatever you need to do, just bounce back, right? And if you need to take a day to be sad, that's okay, right? But make sure that you don't get stuck in that rut. And again, that's easier said than done, but this is something that I need to remind myself too, because you can be sad about something, and that's okay, but you'll relieve a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the stress if you put together a game plan and an outline and you say, okay, I'm going to make these steps and I'm going to conquer this. I'm going to make one step at a time. Even if the finish line isn't totally clear to me right now, you can make steps, you can make progress to getting there. So I just would encourage you to do these things, right? Reframe what is that happened. It's not that bad. It could be worse. Someone else has it worse than you. Make good habits now, implement them. Or if something bad has already happened to you, make those good habits now. What do you have to lose? Like, it's all up from here. And make that plan to bounce back. Don't mope around. Don't just get stuck in a rut. I know it's hard, but even if it's going on a walk, go on that walk. Put that on your to-do list, cross it off. You'll feel a lot better about yourself. Just go on that walk, take that plan of action, get some help if you need it, and comment if you want, message me. I'm here for you guys, and I appreciate you checking out this video. That's going to conclude what I have to say today. Thanks for listening to me yap. I hope that you guys have a good holiday season. I hope that you can have the strength to move through your situations and get through your trials and the adversity that comes your way and everything like that. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure that you like this, subscribe to the channel, and check out the content that's to come. All right. So thank you. I'm grateful for all of you. Until next time.